Yo, this is March 26th, 2024. And I think the going plan right now is we're going to time travel back 2 years and then release this.
Yeah,
All right, sweet. What's going on, Aaron? How you doing?
doing good. I think we're working on fixing the audio on this. I think once I start using a real mic, my audio will sound better. I think I have you at the right volume now. So hopefully our millions of viewers won't be disappointed next time.
Yeah, the whole Discord volume times OBS volume just came to my realization, so I think we're gonna have to try to make it a habit to do sound checks before everyone, just in case you like tweak my Discord volume throughout the week, you know?
Yeah. And then I mean this is pretty primitive too. Like I feel like there's better ways of doing this, but we're only on episode 9, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Um But yeah, we also didn't record last week because it was Bo's birthday and my car's catalytic converter was stolen again, so we were
Again.
busy.
Aaron's getting a new license plate. If you see him driving
No
around,
cat. N
it'll
cat.
be straight pipe.
STR8P1P3.
P1P3, yep. Dude, I saw someone's license plate the other day. It was some utility van for some company, and he was driving in front of me on the highway, but his license plate, the last four digits of it were 1337.
Nice.
It was pretty good.
It's leet.
Yeah. Dude, my shoulders, I went to the climbing gym yesterday. Actually, today was the first week in a little while that I actually made it to the climbing gym every day that I planned to, which is pretty hype. But I did a little workout after my climbing, and sheesh, dude, I am toasted. My shoulders and pecs are just on fire right now.
Yeah,
And
my
my
neck is like
hamstrings,
that.
dude.
I like can barely turn my head. Like yesterday, I was in a lot of pain, but I think it's getting a little better now.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be spending a good amount of time on the foam roller today or with the massage gun.
Because we were doing like mounted triangles. Yeah, and like I think I don't know. I mean, mounted triangles can't be good for your neck, so it's probably that.
Mounted triangles are a cool one. Are you saying so you go like full mount and then triangle?
Yeah, full mount, and then you like go up to S mount, which is like for those non-grapplers out there, full mount is basically sitting on your opponent's upper torso, and then S mount, you like kind of move like you windshield wiper both of your legs to the side, so instead of being parallel to their body, it's perpendicular now. And then from S mount, you grab their head, swing your leg under their head, and then cinch it up the other leg like a triangle. So
Wait, I'm having what's S mount? Is S mount side mount?
no, it's like so in
Where are
like
your
in
legs?
regular mount, your legs are parallel to the torso.
So, well, regular mount for even the more uninclined out there, a better picture is cowgirl, not reverse cowgirl. Regular cowgirl is mount. So then S mount, do you get up higher on them, like
Yeah,
towards
you
their
get up
chest?
higher and you move your legs perpendicular.
So it's
So like
basically like
you're setting up submission attacks from that position, basically.
so it's basically like where you would set up a crucifix mount sorta, where you
Yeah,
have like your shin on their forearm and then your other two arms are on their forearm.
yeah, or like an arm bar or something.
Okay, yeah, I used to hang out there all the time, but I'd get into it from side because I had no attacks from like full mount. I would just eventually get bucked off because I had nothing to attack with.
Same, but yeah. So then you just do a triangle from there, and then except my legs are too short, so I have to like I can put one leg under the neck, but then the other one I have to like roll the person over because my legs are too short and stubby. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem I ran into as well with triangles. I felt like my legs were too short.
But yeah, suffice to say, my neck is in a great deal of soreness at the moment.
Do you do any like neck exercises? Like I don't know. The only two that come to mind are like one you can go prone or supine on a bench with your head hanging off, and then use like a kind of lighter weight plate on your forehead or on the back of your head, and then work against it. And then in wrestling, even in like youth wrestling, when we warmed up, we always did a tripod with the 3 points of contact being, well, actually, it would be like a pentapod, and then you would work into a tripod, but the 5 points of contact were like arm, arm, leg, leg, head, and then you would take your arms up, and you would just roll out your neck that way, and go like ear to ear, back, nose. So
Yeah,
that's
I gotta
also
start
a good
doing
way
that,
to
I
build
guess.
strength.
But I like I've done a decent amount of research, and I think the wrestler's bridge like isn't great for your like vertebrae. So, but the bench, the one where you go on the bench with the weight, is like a little safer. So I'll probably start
Well,
doing something
I
like that.
think, yeah, maybe start with that. I think the wrestler's bridge is probably good to get into, but you have to let pain and uncomfortability be your guide, not like throw yourself into it. Because I had a similar conversation the other day with the owner of my climbing gym, and oh fuck, how did it go? I think basically someone showed up without their climbing shoes, and they had to get rental shoes, and then he was like, "Yo, I wonder how long I can bat hang with these rental shoes on," which is basically like imagine you're hanging from a pull-up bar, but you're just doing it like with your feet. So like that's a bat hang. So he went and did the bat hang, and then I think someone made a joke about how it feels good decompressing the spine. And then I made the joke about, have you ever seen like the Halo traction devices for adolescent scoliosis?
I don't think so.
So basically, what they do is they take this ring and they put it on your forehead like a tiara, kind of, but it's like strapped to your fucking forehead. And then they pull you up by that ring to suspend you in the air and start swinging you around to put your like whole spinal column in
Oh,
traction.
jeez.
Yeah, and it's supposed to help scoliosis and at least adolescents. I hesitate to think that they use the same device in adults, given like the general obesity in adults. But perhaps
Be like freaking hanging somebody. Holy cow.
yeah, yeah. But perhaps maybe like lighter adults could make use of the full thing, or even I could see like a well-trained individual or someone that knows how to not break their neck getting benefits from possibly like strapping themselves up in that and then being able to like imagine you had a pulley system where one end of the pulley is like attached to your neck and the other end of the pulley maybe you control with your arms or something like that, and you're able to like tweak the amount of decompression there is, right? Or like, stand up on your tippy toes sort of thing versus like actually putting your whole body weight into it. But
Yeah.
I could see that feeling really good because I had a neck thing going on a few weeks ago where the only relief I could get from it was I would have my mom dig her thumbs into like right under the occipital. I don't know if there's like a bony part that bears the name occipital, but like right under where your occipital lobe is, the back of your neck, like the brainstem where your C1 is. And so she'd dig her thumbs back there and then try to pull my like essentially try to pull my head off and like decompress C1, C2. And it felt so good. Because obviously my head was never gonna come off, but the decompression there just made it
Yeah.
feel really good.
But
But
yeah,
that's
I guess I'll
that's
have to
another
start doing
thing.
neck stuff, and I don't know. So then I
Yeah,
can have like, huh?
if you can figure out a way to decompress your neck in some way, like get space between those vertebrae, you'll probably get a good amount of
I
relief.
need to get put into an arm triangle. That
Put into an arm
decompress.
triangle.
Every time I get put into an arm triangle, I feel my neck crack like 4 times if I don't tap
Yeah, I don't
quickly
know if
enough.
that's decompression though. Usually your neck, I don't feel cracks when I like decompress my spine. Because like think about when you're doing a dead hang from a pull-up bar,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start kind of like sinking into it and swinging back and forth a little bit, and like you keep sinking into it. You get space in your shoulders, but if you're able to pull your shoulders down and not basically stretch out your shoulders, but instead let your spine stretch out, you get this amazing stretch in like
Yeah, I do dead
the probably
hangs.
L5, L4, maybe like sacral region as well. But you just get this amazing space in like the spine, and replicating that in the cervical area is difficult, like I said, but it feels amazing when you have neck shit going on.
But yeah, I do the dead hangs after I do deadlifts. I do some to get the decompression going,
I used to do those like mid deadlift
and it's
set.
good for your shoulders too. Like keeping your shoulders packed like that helps
There's
reinforce correct
there's
movement
people on
patterns.
both sides of the aisle on the shoulders, and I don't know if it's regarding dead hangs or hanging with shoulder activation, but some people say that it's not very good for your shoulders.
I mean, it depends. Like if your shoulder is like not in the socket, I feel like it's probably bad. But I think if it's in the socket, it helps stabilize all those stabilize your muscles.
So then are you arguing for activation of the shoulders, like keeping tension at the shoulder joint, but then letting everything else kind of hang, like just your spine?
I think so. I don't know.
Well,
Like
like,
my
okay,
scapula
so
is like retracted, kind of.
yeah,
If
yeah,
that makes
okay.
sense.
But so if you were to not retract your scapula, like if you, so imagine you're hanging on a pull-up bar, exactly how you just described, and then you let loose of your scapula, do you sink down another 2 inches or so?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, I think people argue for that when you sink down another 2 inches and you're not retracting the scapula, that you are putting your shoulder in a compromising position.
No, I totally agree with that. 'Cause, I mean, like your shoulder's out of its socket. Like that'd be like doing like
It's
a
not
clean and jerk
out.
and like not
Oh,
packing your shoulder, like having your shoulder out.
yeah.
Basically,
I
it's the
don't think
same
it's
thing.
out of your socket. It's just at a point where it's like okay, your shoulder's more or less a ball and socket joint, and
Or yeah, I guess not out of the socket, but it's like out of its like
well,
whatever.
you have all of your rotator cuff, deltoid muscles, even like subscap and some of the more superficial muscles are working to kind of provide forces that keep that ball in the socket, right? If you're not activating those, especially under a load, the load being a function of gravity pulling on your ass, um, if you start swinging and stuff, you're gonna be liable to get it out of socket since you don't have the stabilization from the muscles. But I
Yeah,
don't think
I
it's
mean that
like
makes sense.
sat out of socket because like you don't feel it pop back in the socket when you get off
Yeah,
the
but
pull-up bar.
like
And
your
I've had
shoulder
my
is
shoulder
like
pop in and out
detached
of socket.
though, or whatever. I just call
It
it
seemed
that
like
because it helps me think about it.
yeah, I'd have to watch like a if there was a good rendering of like a skeleton doing that and seeing like where the bones kind of move because I think there's like articulation or movement at the shoulder joint, but then like your scap, like the bone kind of wings out. So I think there's I don't know, kind of like two positions that you can be in
Oh,
overhead.
two like planes of motion or whatever. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that makes sense on like a surface level, I guess.
Hmm. Another funny story. When I was in the climbing gym yesterday, they reset this little bit of wall and there was this really interesting looking green problem that me and two of my buddies were looking at, and they were like, "Dude, those holes just don't look good." And to put it in perspective, the top so the whole bottom part was imagine like what a boob would look like if it was a climbing hole, just like a perfect fucking circle that you have to like squeeze your hand on.
Okay,
There were a bunch of fucking boobs that you have to basically pinch, and they're real slopey. Like there's no like hold on them. It's just like a real like smooth kind of pinch.
okay,
So bunch of those you climb up, and then you get to these tiny, tiny little crimpers. Like if you look at the first pad of your finger, the most distal pad, you can only get maybe a fourth of that pad on the crimp. Like they're just
oh
tiny
jeez,
little crimpers. So everyone's like, "Oh my god, like this one just looks so difficult." I'm like, "I think this is doable." So I went up there and I did the first part to get to the crimpers, and then I fell off, and then I started at the crimpers and finished it. So then I just needed to link it up, and I haven't linked it up yet. But then these other two guys came in, two of my other buddies, and they were really good at climbing. Like I've seen them send like I've seen one of them send a V7 or a V8, and then the other one multiple V6s. So they're both climbing well above my grade. And I guess there's this app that my gym posts their climbs on when they set them, and then they post the grade. And in the gym, they actually keep the grade off the climb for a while to incentivize people to maybe climb things that they wouldn't otherwise climb if it was already graded. So this guy comes in and he's like, dude, so I saw they put this new green one up that's a V12. And I'm like, a V12? You gotta be kidding me, dude. So then the joke was like, oh man, this guy just did a V12 on his first try. This guy did too. And I'm almost climbing V12, but I think it was more like a V3 or V4. But now my fingers hurt because of those cramps.
do you tape your fingers at all or no?
Yeah, it depends. It's like ideally skin on hold is gonna be the best friction that you can get and whatnot. But if you have like cracks in your fingers or like flappers, especially at like the parts where your fingers bend, like in the creases, I have one on my pinky right now. I would just put a little piece of tape around that so it doesn't get like caught on anything and turn into something bigger. But ideally you don't really want to have tape on your hands because I find it limits like joint mobility and it's not like I said, you want skin on hold, you don't want tape on hold. Your skin's gonna be better.
I think I might start taping up my fingers before I go to open mat because like grabbing onto the gi for like an hour is like pretty taxing on your fingers. I just haven't
Taxing on your skin or on your
like the joints just to like reinforce the joints a little bit. I don't know if it actually works or not. I haven't tried it, but
I don't yeah, I don't think that would do you too much favors
I don't
because the
know. But
big like
I see like all these judo players, their fingers are always taped up. So I don't know if they're doing it for style points or if it actually helps something. So I mean, even if it did give you more friction, like that's still less strain on your fingers. So like I said,
I
I
don't
haven't tried it yet, so I don't know if it makes a difference or not.
yeah, I'm not sure. I know that in climbing the big thing is like it's really easy to make your finger muscles stronger, but
But
it
the
takes a lot longer to
tendons,
make your finger tendons stronger.
yeah,
So a lot of people are liable to hypertrophy their muscles before their tendons, and then their muscles get so strong that they pull the tendons off the bone. So then you're dealing with like A1, A2 pulley tears. Um, so in that case, it's like taping is not going to help anything with that, and the injury you're trying to avoid is tendon tears. And then the other end of it is like I could see an argument for maybe like osteoarthritis or just in general, like arthritic hands coming from using them a bunch. But I think that would be, unless you're like really prone to arthritis, probably like a very downstream effect. So I would think that if they're taping their hands, it's probably more so that they have like a sprain or a specific injury they're dealing with that they're like trying to reinforce. But
or it
I have
just
no
looks
idea.
cool. I don't know. Like I said,
Yeah,
I
I'm
haven't
gonna
tried
look
it
it up. I'm just
because
gonna look up like
some people like swear by it. So, yeah,
judo hand taping. Oh no, they do just have it straight on the fingers.
yeah. But I'm saying like it's a lot of people do it. Like I don't know why, or like I mean I don't know what exactly the benefit is rather that they say they get from it. But I mean, judo is like gripping on the gi to like the maximum amount. It's like all about gripping the gi, whereas
Yeah.
jujitsu is like a little bit.
So another thing is that when you're like when you're climbing, you I don't know how to put this, but like, so when you're in a fucking judo match, oh, these guys are also buddy taping some of their fingers. That's
Yeah, I've
interesting.
seen that too. I've seen people do that as well.
Anyway, so when you're like climbing, you have all the time in the world to like look at that climb and chalk up the holds or brush off the holds and get your fingers ready and snip off a little bit of skin or fingernails, make sure everything's looking good, chalk up, give it a few tries. In judo, it's like once you're 30 seconds into the match, if like something happens that makes your grip a little worse, you're gonna have to deal with that for the rest of the match. You can't stop and like, all right,
Yeah,
but let me do this or whatever. So maybe taping gives you more like longevity in that regard, but that's another pretty big difference between the sports. Is like climbing, you can feasibly like make the conditions perfect for your attempts, and in judo and jujitsu and wrestling and any combat sport, it's really not like that because it's hugely based on like you know uh
timing and like like getting a dominant grip before the other person and stripping the other
Yeah, well,
grips
and
and
you're dealing with a human. You're not dealing with a rock wall.
yeah. I don't know. All I know is those judo players' grips is like the strongest grips I've ever like felt ever. Like I could not strip that grip off any part of my body if they got a good like clamp on. There's no way.
Yeah, I wish I wish I could get back into jiu-jitsu and whatnot. I'm excited. I can't wait for the day that you say, "All right, Bo, I'm ready. Come on up to the big 614. We'll get on the mat."
Dude, I speaking of mats, I've been like kind of house hunting as of late. I think in my basement I'm gonna have like some mats and like a heavy bag set up and some weights and shit. Just have it like be like a gym,
Yeah, we got a little Dolomer wrestling mat in our basement here.
just like a
Honestly, we
puzzle
never
mat.
really used it too much. We got it like when my brother and I were really young, and we would wrestle more in the family room than on the mat in the basement.
But yeah, I definitely want like a squat rack and like heavy bag and some mats and like maybe
Dude,
like one of those rogue like assault bikes, you know, with like the fan in the middle. I kind of want one of those too.
Yeah, the assault bike. And then what do they make the concept too, right? The rower.
Yeah, I don't know, rowing. I guess this was when I was running and playing basketball a lot, but like rowing always hurt my knees. I should try it again and see how they feel. But that's also kind of on my radar because that's a kind of a fun
I
machine.
yeah, I have a friend. Actually, I think you might know this guy. Do you know Horse Lord?
Yeah, well, I mean, I
He's
know
he,
who that person is.
he's a big rower. So if you're if you want some consultation on rowing technique, I might be able to link you up with him. But he's actually on his college's like rowing team and has been for a
Really,
year or two.
I
Yeah.
can't envision him outside of his room playing computer games, to be honest. But
Well, I think he's a pretty tall guy. I don't know like exactly how tall he is, but I think he probably is taller than 6 foot. And as far as I can imagine in rowing, it's probably more advantageous to get taller because you get like you can pull you get more work done per rep essentially.
yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I used to row in like the college gym a little bit just for funsies, and but the assault bike is good. I like doing tabatas on that or whatever. Tabata.
Apata.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's whatever.
But yeah, um,
Well,
homeowner
dude,
Aaron
how do you feel about battle
sometime
ropes?
in the next year. Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I guess it's kind of like a good like conditioning exercise, I guess, and like your grip kind of benefits from it. But I feel like there's other stuff that's like better bang for your buck than a battle rope. I mean, it's like a good Instagram exercise though, if you're into that, recording your shit and posting it.
What do you think's more bang for your buck?
Hmm. Honestly, like I feel like a heavy medicine ball throw might be better, like or medicine ball slam. But I guess it
What
depends why
about
you're doing the battle ropes. Are you doing it for like strength? Or are you doing it for like cardio? I don't know.
I think you can get a bit of I would throw battle ropes into like a interval workout. Like maybe 30, 45 second bouts or something like that. So it wouldn't be like crazy endurance. I think battle ropes are great. I think how do you feel about like chopping wood?
I mean, I've never seen anybody do that like specifically for a workout, but that's like a pretty good. I mean, I guess the
Well, where do
analog
you
for like
think
a workout would be like hitting a tire with a sledgehammer
yeah,
across through
that's what I was
somewhere.
saying. Where do you think that workout came from?
No, I think that's like a good functional. That's like another like medicine ball slam, like just athletic movement. No, I think that's a solid exercise. You shouldn't like build your entire fitness around the sledgehammer, but I definitely think movements like that should be part of your fitness regimen
Yeah.
or GPP. Speaking of GPP, Louis Simmons, founder of Westside Barbell, passed away a couple days ago.
What's GPP?
General physical preparedness.
Gotcha.
It's basically like like strength and conditioning. It's like the conditioning part. Like, what is the workload your body can take, and like how good are you at picking up something and carrying it and walking up a hill with.
Well, that's sort of what like CrossFit tries to be too, except like not really. I don't know.
I don't want to hate
It
on CrossFit, but I feel like doing like AMRAPs of like power cleans and fucking kipping pull ups is just like not great for you. But
Yeah. But their whole like thing is like general fitness. It's like why would you ever do curls if you're not gonna curl anything sort of?
I
And
mean,
it's
when are you
like
gonna
yeah.
AMRAP a fucking power clean at any time of your? I mean, like there's always an it doesn't apply argument, but like seriously, what does most of this stuff like apply to anybody's daily life of like sitting at a computer or like
Well,
standing behind a counter or something?
yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be my daily life, or that's not gonna be my daily life, rather, as soon as I have enough money to fix it.
But yeah, I mean, like I don't want any shade on CrossFit. I feel like you it's just there's safer ways to lift, I guess. But I mean, I can see how it's fun. Like you go with all your buddies and you get after it and stuff. I get that, but I don't know any old CrossFit athletes. We'll put it that way.
That's a pretty good one.
But I see like runners and powerlifters, well, asterisk powerlifters. Like I see people running and lifting and stuff in well into their 50s. So I do not see people doing AMRAPs of a hang clean or whatever into their 50s.
Yeah, and I think like I said, generally what CrossFit tries like says that they're trying to accomplish is like literal just fitness, like who can be the best for the most amount of situations in life sort of thing. And in general, when you look at the amount or not the amount of movements is the part that I have contention with, but the types of movements they're doing are pretty applicable. Like, what were you saying? A clean and jerk? You're saying AMRAPs with clean and jerk isn't a bad idea, or is a bad idea. But when you're looking at clean and jerk, just training it like an ollie lifter would, the proper way, well, then I mean you can totally dispel the concern that you had about the safety of it, and then we can start to just analyze the lift for what it
Yeah.
is. And yeah, if you
But I
need to
mean, a
lift a
CrossFit would be
heavy
like, all right,
object up.
every minute on the minute, do as many cleaning jerks as you can. Like,
Yeah,
all
and that's
right.
like conditioning, but I think you can condition with safer movements
I feel
in
like,
that same
or
fashion.
like, yeah, just doing that with like a sandbag or something would probably be safer. Like a medicine ball,
But like
like
think about all right, think
kettlebell.
about the Murph. Think about the Murph, but you're not allowed to do kipping pull-ups. They all have to be strict. That's like that's a
Yeah,
good fucking
it's a good
workout,
measure
dude.
of fitness for sure. And for those that don't know, Murph is in honor of this dude named Murphy,
Michael
and
Murphy.
he
Basically, this was the workout that like he would do. This was like his shit. He would do this workout with a 25-pound weight vest on over in Afghanistan or wherever.
I would like the basic one is a mile run, 300 air squats, 200 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and another mile run. So
What's actually you the quote unquote basic one or like the canon one is actually reverse of all that middle stuff. So it's 100, 200, 300,
okay,
uh, and it's uh 100 pull-ups. You had them in the right
just
like
reading off Google. Dude, the 300 air squats and 200 push-ups, like that's not terrible, but the 100 pull-ups, bro,
But the
that
but
would
listen,
suck.
the quote unquote real one, like the one they do in the games, like as prescribed, is you can't break them up. So you have to do mile into 100 into 200 into 300 into mile with 25-pound weight vest. You can't do like there's so some people do like unofficial like every time we did it at the high school, it was like an unofficial Murph, so no one would wear a weight vest and you could break them up. And like the best strategy for breaking them up was like a pyramid. So you'd go 1 mile and then you do 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 4 5 5 5 or no, you would double it, so it'd be 1 2 3
Yeah.
2 3. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. But you would work your way up the pyramid, down the pyramid, and it was like a really easy way mentally to do it and break it up. And the best time I ever got like trying to do that was, oh, did I ever break 25? I think I got like a 25-11 one time, and that was pretty fucking
Yeah, the
good.
pull up part, bro. The other
But
parts, like
that was with kipping
I
pull-ups.
can envision myself doing, but not the pull ups. Like the
Well,
most,
kipping pull-ups are piss easy.
yeah, like I always do like pretty strict pull ups. I can do like maybe 20 or 30 at a time with no weight. Not like in
Oh,
a row, but like in a session.
dude, I just remembered. I meant to bring up kipping pull-ups when we were talking about the shoulder, like putting your shoulder in a compromised position when you're dead hanging. When you do a kipping pull-up, you basically return to like the bottom of it in a dead hang, but worse. Your
Cause
body's like,
you're like
yeah,
whipping into it, right?
yeah, you're whipping into it. So it's like, yeah, that's bad. But there also you could also like, assuming your shoulders stay in socket, you could probably knock out 50 or 60 in a row.
What's your your strict pull up record?
I don't know about strict. Right now I could probably bust out like more than 10, less than 20.
My record is 14. Right now I can do 10 barely. After I
I know
got sick.
one time though, there's another well there's a bunch of named workouts in CrossFit, but there was another one we did. It was either like the Danny Dietz or some other like named soldier workout. And essentially it had some running component, but I had like 50 pull-ups in the beginning. And me and a bunch of the other wrestlers in high school were doing it one it's like a summer or spring morning. And again, it started with 50 pull-ups, and I vividly remember just doing 50 pull-ups in a row, unbroken, and running outside. But they were all kipping pull-ups, so it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
They're,
mean, you
they're just
probably could
really
have done
easy
like
to do.
20 or something. I'm guessing it's like double, somewhere around the realm of double.
Yeah, maybe even easier because you really do just get into a rhythm. Like eventually you just start like swinging. Like it's that, I mean that's how the butterfly kip works. It gets you into a rhythm where you bring your
The
chin
kinetic
just
energy is just
above the
like
bar.
transferring back into the bottom, into the top, into the bottom, or
Yeah.
whatever.
And you use your legs like you would on a swing to keep yourself going. So it's not too hard. The biggest like limiting factor is like tearing the shit out of your hands. So everyone that does kipping pull-ups wears, and I have these too in my gym bag, like those leather gymnastic hand wraps that they use on like uneven bars and stuff,
Gotcha.
and those help a lot in not tearing the crap out of like the the pads like right where your fingers meet your palm, the ones on your palm.
Right, that's where they get torn up on deadlifts too. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. But again, everything that CrossFit like says they try to do, and if you were to tune back some of the pace and the reps, I think it would be pretty close to like perfect. Because a lot of those dudes too get involved in like jujitsu and well, actually, probably not the ones competing because they're just going to do sport specific stuff. But you get my drift.
Yeah, I don't see.
That
I see a few older jiu-jitsu people, not many, but I definitely. Well, let's see. There's one of my coaches is like 52, and he's a badass. And then there's a couple of 40s, late 40s. I think there's one other dude in his 50s. So I mean, there's a few, but
yeah, the best shape I'd ever been in was like in the midst of doing a bunch of CrossFit wads, but that was also coincident with not coinc or wait, I'm not allowed to say coincident with because people don't use that. Um, oh fuck, what was the suggestion that you offered? At the same time as?
I mean, I know what you mean. I know what you're trying to say. So I don't know.
Anyway, the best shape I'd ever been in happened at the same time in the most injurious state I've ever been in. So
Yeah, so
there's
like
definitely
really is
something to be
that
said
fitness
about
is
that.
that like is that really what fitness is? Like you can do a crazy workout but you can't like walk or like you wake up you can't it takes you like 30 minutes to get out of bed. Like is that what fitness is? I don't.
Yeah, but like I said, I think there's like a balance to be struck because I was doing crazy workouts plus wrestling practice every day, and then like eventually you're just gonna get injured. Like wrestling plus CrossFit, holy fuck. Just one of
Like
those will fuck you up.
I've like I have like seasons of my life where I'm better at shit, I guess. So in cross country in high school, that was the fastest, and then I got really well, not really strong, but I got my strongest was like right after high school, and I just stopped lifting or stopped running and started lifting, and then I got injured, got out of shape, then got like medium in shape, and then ran a half marathon. That's probably my best endurance, and then like now is probably like my most balanced between all of them. So I don't know like which. I definitely felt like I guess the most healthy when I was doing the long distance running. Well, that's not true because my knees and legs were like so sore all the time. I don't know. I guess right now, I guess, other than my neck.
Dude, I'm thinking back to the time that I went and ran a marathon.
You didn't.
One,
Okay, hold on. Let me clarify. You ran like 12-minute or 13-minute miles. That's like death marching. That's not running. But yes, when you completed
dude,
the marathon.
I death marched the end of it. The first bit was pace, or at least for me. Like I was running the whole time.
For me,
But
like running starts at like 11:30 miles. That's what I call running, and then getting really or like good is like 9,876 in that range, and then elite is like below 6.
what if you're a Chipoji, whatever, a Lukid?
Iliad Kipchoge. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's world class. That's below 5. So
5 minute fucking miles
I
on a
think
marathon.
his pace was like four something miles
That
for
is that
26
is
miles.
so insane.
But yeah, obviously that's like world class, which um let's see. He ran it in 2:01:39. Is there like a split on this? 4:38 per mile. Yeah, that's insane. Which is like basically a
Do
sprint.
you think do you think you could go out and run 1 mile at that pace right now?
No. Dude, 4:38 mile, that's like the dudes in track were like happy to break 5. Like the really
Yeah.
fast dudes in high school track were happy to break 5. So, no way. My fastest mile in high school was like 5:50 or something, which is pretty terrible. I mean, like it's not terrible for like an average person, but for like the average track runner is not great. But yeah, 4:38, no. I mean, very few people in the world could like walk outside and run a 4:38. Very few people in the world could go outside and run like a 6:38 probably.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd be running right now. I think the best ever mile that I ran was like a 5:20, and that was like all out. Like all fucking out. Like so all out that my last 400, about halfway through, I felt like the lactic acid building up in my legs sort of thing. And not only did they like start, you get that like sharp pain and you just keep fucking going,
Yeah, I know
but
what you're talking about.
they got as Tolkien would describe the ring around Frodo's neck. They just got heavy. And like, oh man, after
And that's
after
when you're
that,
using
man.
your arms more than your legs. You're using your arms to chug yourself forward.
Yeah, it's so weird. But no, I'm trying to find I don't remember if I finished that marathon in 4 or 5 hours, but I remember most of it was the
I would
last
say it's
five
probably
miles.
closer to 5 because a 4-hour marathon is like 10-minute miles. And then the qualify for Boston is I think it's sub 3 or sub 3:30. I can't remember. But if you qualify for Boston, you're running like 6:25 or 6:15 miles for the whole thing, for men at least. I can't remember what the female cutoff is.
Dave Goggins qualified for the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, I mean he's a world class endurance athlete, so that makes sense.
Yeah, did it in about 5 hours. And then I noted that I didn't have any issues until mile 19. But this was untrained without food and without water, so you got to give me a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I mean you death marched it. Like congrats on completing it. I'm sure you did not feel good at all.
No, I didn't feel good for about a week. And then Astronaut Al replied to that tweet so many years ago and said 5 hours XP waste, LOL.
My
I
half
remember that
marathon I ran. Well, I was running with my friend who was running a marathon for the first like 8 miles. So I ran a 10-minute pace, and then I negative split the last five. So I got negative split means you get faster. So I passed
yeah.
like 400 people, and then my last couple miles were like below 8-minute miles after running all that. And like when you when you pass people, like it's harder because you're not drafting behind people. You're going around and weaving in and out. So I don't know. I felt pretty in shape for that. That was fun.
Yeah,
And like
that's a good
negative
feeling.
splitting, negative splitting for that long, it's definitely makes you feel like you're in good shape.
That's like sort of how I felt when I described that wrestling match where I got my ass whooped that one time, but I like came off the mat not even breathing hard. It was like feels good. Gave it my all, and I could give it my all again. Hmm. Oh, also, Aaron, I was wearing khaki pants and a fanny pack with a knife
Yeah,
on
that's
my
definitely
belt.
not the optimal outfit. For mine, I was wearing like a long sleeve dry fit shirt, my LeBron James jersey, beanie hat,
Hmm.
gloves. Under Armour tights, and I can't remember what shorts I had on. I had definitely had like really light shorts on though. And then Nike Air Pegasus 33 or 32. I don't know.
The Nike Air Pegasus.
That's like their neutral running shoe. Except I don't run in that shoe anymore because it was kind of making my knees hurt. I've been running in New Balance Fuel Cell Prisms lately if I go running. But I want to try out some Brooks shoes because I heard those are super comfortable.
I don't have any dedicated running shoes. Actually, that might be a lie because the shoes that I ran that uh bitch in were my buddy Matt worked for like I don't know technically what his job title was, but he worked pretty closely with the athletes that did their practices and events in the St. John's Arena. So it's like the wrestling team, I
I
think
like
like the
equipment
track
manager or
teams.
something.
Yeah, yeah, basically. And then like he didn't I don't think he ever really saw the basketball team besides the women's basketball team. But anyway, he was able to get us gear sometimes and I think he got me a pair of Nike something or another from, some athletic organization at Ohio State was using those for their athletes. So I would assume it was a running shoe, but those are pretty good. The most comfortable shoes that I have though, and I keep getting these, is the Reebok Nanos. They're the Reebok CrossFit
Yeah, I
shoe.
was gonna say, is that their like the Reebok equivalent of the Metcon, Nike Metcon, basically?
Yeah, well the Metcon was like what copied these, I think,
Okay. Yeah,
because Reebok.
I've heard of that shoe.
Yeah, but they're really good. I don't think they would be like really good for like running or anything, but they're like
For like
flat enough to
sprints,
lift in,
maybe.
comfortable enough that I wear them to work every day, flashy enough that like I've received kind of an uncomfortable amount of compliments on my shoes because I never know how to respond. It's like, thanks, yours look cool too. All right, now let's get your blood pressure. But yeah, they're really good. I would recommend. I've had 5 pairs of these, kind of like upgrading every time, like because a new one comes out every year. So sometimes I skip a few, but I've had 5 pairs, and they're all still wearable. Some of them are just dirty, so none are completely torn up.
But yeah, like I use like the Pegasus is like my daily shoe, and then yeah, like I said, if I'm running, I'll wear the New Balance for now, or um for I have squat shoes too. I used to squat barefoot, but I've been trying out shoes lately, and the Rogue do win my squat shoe. So
Yeah, I would do everything in the gym barefoot. Honestly,
yeah,
I'm
I
with
think
Colton on that
from
one.
like I tend to agree, but for some reason, like my squat is better in a shoe because I barefooted squat for like years, but it just seems to feel a little more comfortable with the shoe on. So
Yeah,
barefoot
fair
deadlift
enough.
is definitely the best way to go for sure. Like, yeah, it's just so superior to every other way. So
Usually, if I do any lifting at my home gym, I do everything barefoot, just because like I figure it's the best. I don't know. We didn't evolve with shoes on, but I
yeah, but I mean,
also
we also didn't evolve to walk on concrete and hardwood and whatever, right?
oh dude, that reminds me of what I was gonna tell you earlier when you were describing your home, like what you want to get in a home gym. I saw this dude, I forget what the context was. It honestly might have been CrossFit. I'm really not sure. I don't really follow any CrossFitters anymore, but this guy had a squat rack that he built it out of 4x4s and some kind of metal shit for the like where you'd put the actual bar. But he just had it like outside in the grass, like under a fucking apple tree. It was so cool. And then he had some other shit, like he had a little platform cleared out for where he did his deadlifts and ollie, presumably.
Yeah, I'm
But he was
probably just gonna buy
outside,
like all Rogue stuff. I imagine.
grounded.
We'll see.
Dude, my boy Petey used to have this pretty cool setup too. He called it the Lodge Garage, and they had like a little ass CrossFit gym in their garage up in Oxford. And they would just open the garage door, and it was basically like a half outside gym. Do their
Oh, that's
sled pulls
cool.
and stuff in the driveway. Yeah, sleds are a cool one too. If you can get your hands on one of those, You get a little grass area to be able to use it without tearing up the concrete and shit.
Yeah, I do sled pulls in my gym. I guess I haven't like put a lot of thought into. I mean, first, like in order to get a home gym, you need a home. I don't have that yet, so I haven't like that's like skipping a step. I haven't really thought that far about it, but
I've been looking into some land recently. I think it might be maybe a smart play to get a a decent patch of land and then try to remediate it by the time that I'm actually ready to build. And then maybe by that time, I don't want to build there, and I could sell the land for more than I bought it for, and then build somewhere else.
I mean, real estate is real estate, right? So it's a pretty good investment, probably.
Yeah, I think Brian. I don't know what Brian said. He said it was a bad idea for some reason, and then
I don't know. I mean,
Tom
ultimately,
seemed pretty
like,
on board with it.
there's more to it than just like buy land. Like, where is it?
Oh yeah,
How much did you
way
get
more
it
to it.
for? Like, what air? Like, there's a lot of different. Like, what zone is it in? Blah blah blah. I mean, yeah, there's more to it than just that. But
Yeah, but I'm also thinking that that would be a fun project, doing all that research. Because even once you find the land, well, now you have to be able to assess what kind of state it's in, what kind of state you want it to be in, how you're going to get it from point A to point B. You got to maybe reintroduce the wildlife that used to be there, uh, rehabilitate the topsoil. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things to look at. And then, even after all that, once you get it to like a net neutral, well, then you gotta try to figure out how you're gonna get something out of it. So if you want to start, planting like fruit bearing trees there and shit, well, you got to get that done pretty early because those take a good 5 years to even start producing anything, So I think it'd be a cool project, but perhaps it'd be wiser to start with a smaller scale garden at my parents' place where I don't take like the economic hit minus buying the supplies to get it started.
all right, I think I'm good to wrap up this episode here. I think we come to like a solid stopping point.
Yeah.
That's fine with you.
Oh, just to give. Oh, actually, I think we said we were gonna do that episode right before the Amazon series came out. I
Yeah.
was gonna give the audience. I just finished the second Lord of the Rings book, so I'm working on the third one at work, and I might continue on the Silmarillion. But at any rate, Aaron and I will be able to have a much better like conversation about the lore and stuff in a week and a half roundabout when I finish Return of the King. So I've been listening to a lot of like fan lore videos too and shit, which is
Yeah, I've watched a lot of those, a lot of videos, and I don't really feel like rereading the book. I just reread Two Towers like last year, so I'm not too keen on doing that again. But
I
I need
needed
to watch
to.
the movies again.
I'm gonna try to watch that second movie this weekend with Anna. She's coming over soon. But I needed to reread the books because like I literally had forgotten almost everything. And now that I've read through them again, I think where I had originally read to was I'd read The Hobbit, I'd read Fellowship, and I had gotten at least like three-fourths of the way through Two Towers because I didn't remember all of the shit that happened like with Shelob and stuff was new to me in terms of like reading. I'd never read those lines before,
Hmm.
but I was still getting some like familiarity up until they got to was it Gondor? Where did they get taken by the men? You remember when they were in the
It was
Dead
like
Marsh?
outside of Gondor. They were captured by
Yeah,
Gondor's men, but like it wasn't
it
in
was like
like
a stronghold, a
yeah,
secret
it was like a
stronghold. Yeah,
fortress
so
or something, secret
that was
fortress.
about right before that was where I kind of remembered too, and yeah, but it's been really cool reading through them again. I'm like a much bigger fan. I'm glad that you got me into them, Aaron.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, it's like it's literally like the Western story that like is like the foundation of like all Western fantasy, basically one way or another. So
It
it's
really is. And I've heard people, since I've started reading them, I've heard people talk about other works of fantasy, as like the godfather of fantasy, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah,
Like,
like
where?
you don't know what you're talking
I've
about.
never heard of this. Like, maybe you're right, but I've never heard of what you're talking about. And like, Lord of the Rings exists, so get to talking.
And also
Explain
Game of
yourself.
Thrones, I mean, like, I'm not even counting it, or A Song of Ice and Fire. I'm not even counting it anymore because the story is not done, and it's probably not going to be done ever. So excuse me, it's an unfinished story. So like what? Like imagine if the Return of the King was never published, and you couldn't call Lord of the Rings like one of the great fantasy things if the end wasn't published. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed reading The Song of Ice and Fire, but I can't put it in the pantheon just because it doesn't have an ending. So
Yeah. Well, at any rate, we can look forward to perhaps another Lord of the Rings episode before. Like, we might do two more
yeah, we
before
could.
the
Yeah, I mean, we could
series comes
honestly.
out.
There's whole podcasts where all they do is talk about Lord of the Rings, like every episode. So
Yeah.
there's definitely
'Cause
stuff to talk about.
I'm thinking we can at least do. I'm thinking just tentatively we could do an episode in the near future, maybe 3 episodes, 4 episodes in the future, just about lore. Now that I'll be read up besides the Silmarillion, and then after that, later once the Amazon series starts to come out, we can revisit what we think about it, and then perhaps do a third episode later once the series develops on our thoughts on it. So got a lot of content there.
Yep. All right, everybody. We will see you sometime in the future. All right, this concludes
I think
episode
more
9.
than likely we'll see him on regular schedule next Saturday.
Yeah, as long as nobody's. Well, there's no catalytic converter to steal anymore, so that shouldn't be a problem for me next week. All right,
Yeah, and
see
I
you
don't
guys.
gotta